This is Sharif with CGS Computers, doing a quick video on how to submit a sitemap for a website to Google Search Console. We make a couple assumptions here. One is that you have a Google account, you know how to log into Google Search Console, and that you have a website. And the website is going to be one that you own. You're able to get to the back end, and you're able to log into it. Now, I'm going to do it with a WordPress website. That's the most common website that people run these days, and I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to start off over on this side. We've got the website. This is, for those of you who do WordPress and have done it recently, this is the default WordPress install. I just built this about a half an hour ago in preparation for this video, and we can actually pull a sitemap from this. Now, WordPress doesn't actually do sitemaps natively, so we have to build one. The easiest way to do that is by using a WordPress plugin that builds sitemaps for you. Now, for my production websites and websites from clients, I use a plugin called Yoast SEO, and that one does a whole lot of other stuff besides just sitemaps. In this case, I'm just using a very much smaller, less used plugin that adds sitemaps. That's all it does. I'm gonna not keep this site anyway. It's just a demo site, so pretty much we just have this plugin, and you can see it right here. It's called Google XML Sitemaps, and literally all it does is make a sitemap. So two things we need. We need to know where the sitemap is. What's the address? Depending on the plugin you choose to use, or if you use a different technology, if you don't use WordPress, the sitemap may have a different URL. In this case, we can go down to the settings, and we can look at the XML sitemap plugin, and it'll tell us that the sitemap is located right here. So this is the URL for it. Now I'm going to open this up so you can see what it looks like, and you'll see that there's nothing spectacular about it. What it is a list of every URL on the website, and you're going to submit this to Google, and Google will use that as a roadmap to your website on how to index it. It's really important if you're a brand new website, you don't have a lot of backlinks. It takes a while for Google to find your stuff via its own organic spiders and crawlers. But if you manually submit your sitemap to Google, you can get your pages indexed a lot quicker. So what's important to see here is that our URL is sitemap.xml off of the home URL, and we're going to need that for Search Console. Now, I'm going to click over to Search Console here. These are sites that I have in my Search Console already. The first thing we need to do is we need to actually add the property in there, and that property is sample5.cgscomputer.com. So we're going to click Add Property, and we're going to type in the website address, http://sample5.cgscomputer.com, and we're going to add it. We're going to wait for Google to come back. Now, you have to prove to Google that you own this website, and the way that they do it, there's a couple different alternate methods you can use. I like this method. It's the default method. What you're going to do is they're giving me an HTML file to download, so I'm going to go ahead and click that and download it. Now, you may have already noticed that I've got this other window here. This is a FTP client, and what I'm going to do with the FTP client is I'm going to take that file and I'm going to upload it to the website. And once I upload it to the website, Google will verify, and it proves to Google that I own this website, or that I at least have administrative access to it, and therefore I'll have the ability to submit sitemaps and do other controls in Search Console. So I've downloaded the file. It's down on the window, down on the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and log into my my hosting company's FTP. Now, if your hosting company uses cPanel, you can do it that way as well with the file manager. Depending on if you're using a company like Squarespace or something like that, they'll have probably a drag and drop that you can use. So let me go ahead and log into this. All right, so let's turn our attention down to the window below me, the FTP client. So you can see that we're logged into it now, and I'm going to go ahead and expand my root, and then I'm going to expand the folder public HTML. Now this is where all the websites live, and I've got all of my websites. They all live in different subfolders under public HTML. So we're going to look at the sample5.cgscomputer.com directory. That's the directory that contains this website. Okay, and we need to take the file that we downloaded from Google, this verification file, which looks like that's all that's in it right there. This is the actual file. We need to take that file, and we're going to put it in the directory using FTP, and it's literally just a drag and drop. It's very simple, very easy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You won't see that actually happen in the video. You'll probably see it pop in there. So there we go. I've just uploaded it, and all I did was just drag it from my downloads folder into that directory. No different than using like the Windows Explorer or the Apple Finder. And now that I've put that file in there, I can come back over to my site window, and in my site window, I am going to verify that I'm not a robot, and all I'm going to do is click verify. And now it successfully verifies we own the site, it's ours. Google is comfortable that we own the site and it's ours. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we've got a dashboard. There are some other things you'll want to do in here, but for this video I'm just showing the sitemap. We're going to click on crawl. We're going to click on sitemaps. You'll notice that there are no sitemaps at the moment. And if we go back to our demo site and we look at where that was, what the URL was, it's sitemap.xml right under the home directory. So we're going to do add test a sitemap, sitemap.xml. You can see that they already pre-fill the domain out for you. And let's just do a quick test. View test result, and it's going to tell us the sitemap index. There's 6 children in it, and there's no errors. So now we're going to click add test again. We're going to type that in again, and this time we're going to do submit. Item submitted. Refresh the page. We're going to refresh the page. And here's what we get. Now, this it's going to say pending. One of the things I like about these sitemaps is Google pretty much processes them pretty regularly, so you only have to do this once for the most part. It's good to come back to Search Console regularly and make sure that things are getting indexed on a regular basis, but it's pretty much the only time you have to do it. Now, let's say you go and you convert your site. This one's HTTP, but let's say you convert your site to HTTPS. You'll have to pull new sitemaps and resubmit them. But this is how you get things into Google to start off. Now, I'm going to show you one of the other sites we run. This is stthings.com. This is a blogging site, and I'll show you what their sitemap looks like. So I've actually submitted 5 different sitemaps with them, for different reasons. But mainly you see that each one has a certain number of URLs submitted and a certain number that have been indexed. Now, we just changed this site over to HTTPS not long ago, so Google hasn't caught up, and so you notice a lot of these numbers, the amount of indexed compared to what's actually been submitted is significantly less. But this will eventually catch up. We did it a couple weeks ago. It generally takes a month or a little longer for Google to catch up and re-index all your stuff when you do an HTTPS switch. Well, we might do a video about that at some point in the future. But that pretty much wraps it up. That's how you do it. If you, like I said, if you have a different plugin that does your that does your sitemap, you'll have to double check and make sure it may not just be sitemap.xml. The Yoast SEO plugin, there's a sitemap _ index.xml. That's what the sitemap files. If you run websites off of Squarespace, I got a couple people that do that. It's just like this one. It's sitemap.xml. So once you know that, you can drop it into Google, and you're pretty much on your way to having your stuff show up on Google, provided you have good enough content for Google to serve it up to people. So that's about it. Let us know what you think. If you have questions, shoot us an email. You can get us on our site at www.cgscomputer.com.